So disappointing. They caved. What are your thoughts, Mazz?
No, that's it. They caved. They caved. I think it was important to Jeremy Swayman for the last year plus to punch the Bruins back in the face, because that's what he felt like when he went to arbitration and ended up where he ended up, and the Bruins let him do it. I think that's basically what happened. It's stunning. Neely comes out and says $64 million. They throw in another couple. That blows me away. They got their asses kicked in this negotiation.
See, I don't think that they did. I thought this was as high as I would go after he had that fudge number of 64 last week, Neely. And I think I was under the impression with you guys that Swayman and his camp wanted probably close to 9, if not more. 8.25 was as high as I would go. So did he punch the Bruins in the face? I don't think so.
I do.
I do too.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to go to this number, Murray. I don't. And I think the agent came in at 9.5 because he wanted to raise the middle. Like, he knew he wasn't going to get 9.5, so he asked for something outrageously high. This guy had no right to ask for the money he asked for, given where he was in his career.
Oh, I'm with you with that.
And again,
but I also think he and that agent really wanted like 9 or 10. I believe those numbers and those reports. And I think, he believes he wanted to set the market. I'm taking him for what he was saying on that podcast and how he's carried himself. He wanted to be this martyr of the goalies and this Curt Flood, like, oh, I can't, I got to worry about the goalies after me and all of that. I think he did want a double-digit number. So I look at it as somewhat fair, and they're kind of just betting on the upside, the team, I mean.
He knew there was no shot he was going to get the double-digit number. Just my opinion. I mean, again, the agent's not an idiot. This thing works the way it works for a reason, meaning he was a restricted free agent. The only guy, the ceiling for him was going to be Vasilevsky, which he was not going to get because he's not Vasilevsky.
So he got the Sorokin number.
Yeah, but that number is still too high given the number of games he's played in this, service time in the league. Still too high. Again, if you just go by apples to apples, you try to compare it. His number was in the mid-sevens, I think. Max. Somewhere in there. He totally kicked them in the nuts. Totally.
They keep overpaying goalies. And, I complained about Tuukka Rask's extension. I complained about the Linus Ullmark contract. And, I think people look at it and go, well, don't you feel stupid? Like, no. Actually, I don't. Was Linus Ullmark worth the money at the end of the day?
Yeah.
No, well, $5 million.
For what they paid him, yes.
He didn't win a playoff round.
Yeah. I mean, $5 million is not a ton for a goalie, though, anymore.
I can get a guy to lose in the first round every year, paying him $2 million.
Okay, well, that's true. Did he win the Vezina the year before?
Yeah.
To which I would stick my finger in my ass and make that noise that you make. Who cares
Cheek.
about your freaking Vezina?
I'm just talking about the level of play. He was good. He was regular season. He was good.
But this is sort of my point. I'm not paying any guy. This is why I'm sort of out. So, look, Jimmy points out, others have. When Tuukka Rask signed at 26 years old, he signed 8 years, $7 million. At the time, that was just under 11% of the cap. This Swayman contract will eat up 9.4% of the cap, and the caps are going up. So it's going to cost Swayman's going to cost you a little less than Rask relative to the cap.
Sure.
Was Tuukka Rask worth it?
I mean, to them.
Well, if you go by playoffs, no.
No, he wasn't worth it to me. No,
not to me because I didn't believe in him, but to them, I'm sure they thought it was worth it.
He won a couple Vezinas, 1 or 2. They made a couple finals, and he wasn't the guy to put you over the top of that. I'm not telling you he sucked, but I would have rather taken that $7 million and had another defenseman, and had a goalie making $4 million. And I think that my chances would have been just as good. Did he ever carry you? The best he ever played was
13.
In 13. And the conference final you had against Pittsburgh, he was great.
Oh, he was tremendous in that series.
You swept him.
Yeah.
So if
you could argue he was better in 19 until the end. He was good in the first 3 rounds.
Other than that, whoops, so it's like, I mean, I don't know. I've just sort of reached this stage. I'd rather take that 7, 8, 9 million and give it to a stud defenseman. I'd rather have a good defensive core than a number one goalie. I'm sorry. I think I'm right about it. The number one goalies, Bobrovsky broke through. Certainly Vasilevsky is one. Vasilevsky was also on the best team. And I think we're in this era mostly where the best team wins, not the best goalie.
Well, so look, I don't disagree with that assessment, but that's a different question.
It is.
Right? That's a bigger picture, philosophical question of how do you build a cup winner. I'm just saying that what the player was in the context of who he was measured against over the course of that time. Rass wasn't grossly overpaid. It's not like they gave him what Carey Price got.
Nope.
So they were all right there.
No, I mean, you're right relative to his market. It was a market contract.
Yeah, it's so, but this one to me feels high.
It is.
Relative to market. That's the part that I get stuck on. And look, I like Swayman. I like him. He's a good goalie. And there's an athleticism there and a compete there, and certainly he in the playoffs last year was pretty good. But the fact of the matter is in this, they just totally got caught up in the whole emotion of it with him being upset, and they totally caved. They completely caved.
As they tend to do with their own players. They're too good to their own players. That's really swung, a franchise that was just brutal on their guys, certainly money-wise, for decades, has just flipped, and now they're too good. They're just too good to their players. They take care of them on too high of a level. They bend over for them too much, and I think it hurts them at the end of the day. It's a desirable destination, but it's all a little too comfortable there. They're all just a little too taken care of for a group that just hasn't won at high enough a level to get that treatment, and I think this is part of it. They caved, and I like the player too. He's not that good.
I was surprised. I mean, they were so dug in on both sides. There was such a stalemate. I figured he was going to get traded, or we wouldn't hear him or see him until December. But here we are. I was shocked when I heard this yesterday morning.
So I hope he's over the hurt. I hope he's over the emotional trauma. I know it's hard on him being made one of the highest paid goalies in the history of the sport. That's a traumatic thing that none of you kids should have to go through. So, we're here for you. We can offer support. I'm sure there's helplines and conferences we can do and things that we can really we should reach out, Murray.
Get a therapy dog.
These, yeah.
Get him a nice golden.
Get him something because it's tough. These kids today they have it tough. It's tough being made the highest paid goalie, one of them in the history of the sport. When you've won one playoff round and never started more than 43 games, so it's a lot. There's a lot on these kids.
Yeah.
I feel for you kids.
It's a tough world to grow up in.
You and your brethren. Yeah, it is. It's not. It's a tough world. And, Jeremy, we're here for you. Kids, Jeremy, you and the kids in your generation, we are here for you. If you need to reach out, anyway, just talk. Okay? So all the stigmas are gone. You need to reach out and talk. We're here to talk. I hope the $66 million... Well, I hope it wasn't too traumatic for you.
Even if you don't want to talk, you can just stare at your phone, and we'll just leave you alone, because I know that makes you...
Oh, you don't want to talk? It's going.
Yeah.
Talk, we're here to talk. You don't talk, we don't have to talk. But we are here for you, because we understand how tough that was on you. Now twice you've had to negotiate a contract with the Bruins to make millions and millions of dollars when I'm not even sure you're that good. I know that that's hard. It's difficult, but we are here for you, like I said.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Bruins analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.